So we do see a lot of things come down in January and February on the criminal side. In fact, February tends to be one of our best months for criminal defense for big, big crim stuff that's felony B and higher. I got into the law on the marketing side, I guess. I went to business school. I had some opportunities where I was able to be brought into companies at a little bit higher level and help turn them around for profit. So over my career, this is, I think, the fifth or sixth company that was about to go bankrupt. Wow. And I came in and turned it around and regained not only profitability, but now I decided to stay here, and I've been here almost a decade, but at just at 6.5 years, I ended up taking where they were about to go out of business, got it stabilized, and in 6.5 years, I was able to not only double their business, their sales, revenue, real estate size, and staff size. So
wow, that's fantastic. That's so fun, Chris. Okay,
it's great. Yeah, well, sometimes you stick to certain basics.
This interview is really to talk about like this fun stuff, right? Like trends and challenges about yourself. So what were the most bigger tactics that you use in the company to lift them up?
Tactics. So I approach everything really in a kind of like, you remember those little Venn diagrams? Yeah. Usually I have three circles there. One, you have to know the mechanics of the business, right? There's got to be the second one and the mechanics is easy. That's, do you know how to look up precedent? Can you respond to an email? The mechanical stuff. Then there's a tenacity or constitutionality. Do you have the tenacity, or the tenaciousness to be able to stay with the job long enough to get over the challenging hurdles, the humps, the learning curve? And then actually integrate yourself into the flow and then see that certain tasks or objectives over time become easier and easier. A lot of people give up early because, oh, this is too hard. And they move on and they keep running into, this is too hard, this is too hard. It's because they don't have the tenacity to work through and learn how to critically think through certain problems. And then the final part is really the ethereal aspect of the job. The ethereal aspect of that space between two molecules, if you will, the ethereal space between two people. Are you able to communicate in such a way that you can make potential clients trust you, find credibility in you? Can you build a sales cycle that's not salesy? Can you come across as your authentic self and earn credibility through reputation and authentic, being your authentic? And so with those three, I kind of look at that and try to build a culture around that. And really, the end of the day, the biggest light bulb I had coming into the other side of the legal industry, where you're running a law firm, not doing just their marketing, was the realization that, and lawyers don't like hearing this, but it's a fact and it's truth. They don't like hearing the fact that they went to school to learn a trade. Okay, that's a really hard thing for a lot of lawyers to swallow. That you just spent 4 years specializing in one thing and you learned hopefully how to do it very well. Yeah. Coming out of law school with a law degree does not mean that you're capable of running a company. Yeah. Last I checked, I didn't see anything in the law school curriculum that showed managerial finance. No. Learning how to reinvest money and generate additional revenue channels, if you will, whether through investment, through additional services. I also learned that in a law firm, you are growing not only vertically, but horizontally, right? You can only grow so far vertically. You can only take in so much work before you have to start adding personnel or practice areas, right? Yeah. And so there is a vertical and a horizontal balancing act that we have to do. Well, I see a lot of law firms, they try to grow too fast and they crash and burn. Oh, we got 10 partners. Then a year later, we're down to 2 partners. It's like, what happened, right? They grew too fast. They didn't know how to manage that flow. And then really learning the importance of budgeting around your cash flow, setting up parameters around I hate to use the word conservative ideals, but you want to conservatively say, if we made $100, you always want to put 10% of that aside. You want to build that safety net so that when you do have that time to make a decision, you have the power through resources. Most of the time, it's financial resources to make a decision, a good decision, right? Oftentimes, if you don't have the money in your pocket to be able to buy more marketing, add personnel, bring in a new piece of equipment, whatever it may be, you don't even have the option to make the choice or the decision. You're always making a decision on the defense based on a lack of resources. So it's important that attorneys, when they're coming in, they're thinking about starting their own firm. They want to have staying power and long-term or longevity and growth. But they really need to have, even if they're not in that position to hire someone like myself or finance or an operations manager. It's important that they find somebody either within their local chamber of commerce or through some networking that can take them through some of those more complicated and then help them as to how to follow a path to making a good decision that's best not only for the business but for its team as well.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is so true. And I feel like a lot of people are just leaving law school right now and they just have all these great expectations, but it's not that easy. And it's the same, like the flip side is the same with some older, like bigger law firms too, that they just don't have this mentality, like this growth mentality. Like, okay, like you're growing, but like you need to expand. Like I love that like horizontal like idea because it's so true. You can only grow so much with what you have, what like the structure that you built up. So yeah, I am curious about like what trends have you been aware of like right now in the market and especially like legal.
So trends wise, we have trends in our industry. Our specialty is criminal defense as well as family law, or as we say in the law, domestic relations. And then we also do personal injury. But the first two, criminal defense and domestic relations, two of our key divisions here. Personal injury sort of takes care of itself. We have partnerships with various doctors and other firms that refer in most of that work for us. But with criminal defense and domestic relations, we still have to have a sales cycle. We have to have a marketing strategy. Obviously, during COVID, very different. We saw crime go way down. People weren't out doing crime. We saw personal injury or motor vehicle accidents go way down. Nobody was driving. Saw a lot of people forced to stay in a house together and not a lot of time apart. So we saw divorces skyrocket. That was COVID. Talking about regular business or regular seasons, we see a lot of divorce, family law work come into play right about October, and it really builds up in November, and then it dies off in December. People love to get divorced before Christmas. Get them out of gift buying.
Wow.
We also see a big increase in family law work right after tax season.
Okay.
So end of April, May is a big month. We see a lot of criminality go up in the first quarter, and that a lot of times we're not talking about just DUIs and petty stuff. Talking about it's a new understanding your business. You need to understand the businesses that you work with or the industries you work with, right? And so let's look at law enforcement from the criminal defense side, right? If you can understand that, my boss, Mr. Oliveros, his specialty is defending sex crimes. Sex crimes often include things like unwanted advances, sexual assault, maybe something with a minor or something where you're passing illegal pictures through the internet, things like that, right? Those oftentimes take a lot of investigation prior to making the charge, right? And so in a lot of cases, things that might be on a hold in that fourth quarter, because the government, those different agencies, they may see that first quarter of the new year as an opportunity to go in and they need tax money and money to run too. So those are great times. So we see a lot of those crimes get charged in January and February, even though we know that those clients may be being investigated November, December. So we do
Okay.
see a lot of things come down in January and February on the criminal side. In fact, February tends to be one of our best months for criminal defense for big, big crim stuff that's felony B and higher. Things almost always quiet down in our industry at the second week of June through the last week of July. August seems to pick things back up.
Mhm.
But there is a trend to family law. Family law. Think about tax season. Think about certain holidays.
Yeah.
Right before, right after is when it's going to spike.
So that is good that you know all this data too, because again, like I know a lot of law firms for sure. They don't even keep track of that. Like they don't know like this
We
numbers.
track every single piece of data we can, but again, you take somebody like me who's been doing cash flow, operations, finance, and remember every business only has three departments: sales and marketing, finance, and operations. Everything else is a derivative of those three departments.
It's true.
Right? Oh, what about the advertising? That's sales and marketing. What about HR? That's operations. What about our payroll? That's finance, right?
Yes.
It all falls into those three categories. It's in business. The more we simplify, the easier it gets. Lawyers tend to get in their own way sometimes. They want to make things a little more well, what about that? What about that? And then they want to predict. It's like, no. We got to live in the now and then think about the future. So,
right. Talking about future, that brings me to a next question. What are the goals for the firm for, let's say, like for the next 12 months?
For the next 12 months, we would look at growing in the digital. So we have gone up in sales every year, increase. Right now, we've now stabilized. So we like to see our increase at right around anywhere between 7 and maybe 12, 13% growth. We try and lock it in right around so we see that consistent growth. The other goals that we have in mind in 12 months is we've invested in a piece of commercial property, and now we're thinking about building our own building as we get prepared for the next few years to double yet again. So we're now looking at trying to turn that growth into an additional investment opportunity and additional revenue source. That building that we're looking at putting our law firm in that we would own would also have 4 other tenants that would cover it. And so now we eliminate a large portion, about 50% of what we're paying in rents now. And by doing that, we get to take all of that, add that to the bottom line. Talk about a margin boost, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. But what about real estate right now? Like I know that, interest rate, everything.
Exactly why we're holding on to it. We're waiting for
really,
next year.
Do you really want to buy right now?
Yeah. No, the question is, do you really want to build right now?
True. Yeah.
So building is different, right? It's commercial. You get better rates, you get better deals. You're just stuck in a shorter amount of time, right? Remember, a commercial building, 15-year mortgage, not 30.
Oh, okay. I see that. Wow. And talking about your competitive landscape, like how is your
Portland, Oregon is very competitive. One of the challenges with Oregon is this: we're sandwiched between 6 law schools. And so those 6 law schools are Gonzaga, University of Washington, and University of Seattle, I believe. And then we also have Lewis and Clark here, Willamette, and University of Oregon. Challenge with that is you get anywhere from 25% or more of each class coming in is coming from out of state. Yeah, if you ask them, they all say on day one, oh, I'm going to move back near my folks and I'm going to practice law in that state. 60% of those people have never seen mountains before. I'm so close to the ocean. They never decide to go back. Every 2,000 people in the state of Oregon, we have 9 lawyers available to them.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Right? Think about that. That's when you start really adding competition to that, that's less than 200 per lawyer.
Yeah. Right? How do you make that? Like, what are your strategies to keep it up with everything?
So, great question. There's certain things that I'm pretty rigid about. One is our digital footprint online. Making sure that you have a good website or SEO manager. And not to be confused with SEM. You might need some of that too, but making sure that your website is properly coded, and meets all the SEO requirements, so that it's showing up properly and where it should when people are increasing out that digital footprint through SEM and through other marketing. I guess I was going to say the Google Maps is really important. I'd say we're probably pulling 50 to 60% of our leads just off of the SEO behind the Google Maps right now. And that's just because of the way people have changed in the way they search on these. So,
Yeah.
you know, everybody searches on their phone. The other big thing that I'm extremely rigid about is being involved in your community. People don't know that you're there. They're never going to call you. So I have sat on the board of directors for the North Clackamas Chamber of Commerce for 6 years now. We've been members there for a decade. And I can honestly say that if anybody needs a lawyer, we're the first one to get called. They have 800 and some members, businesses, also active in a couple of other groups for networking and whatnot. So taking that digital is, you know, it's part of it, but there also has to be a grassroots element behind it. So having that FaceTime and then having somebody who can go out and do that so that your lawyers are able to continue going to court. Remember, you're also acting as a gatekeeper, right? What happens when you go to a networking and you're the lawyer? Everybody wants free advice. They all want to spend time with you. Lawyers are busy people. They have clients and they have to be very diligent about their time.
Yeah.
So having somebody like me say, well, what kind of case do you have? You know, what do you do? What are you looking to do? Right? You know, we got a great lawyer. Our firm doesn't do that, but we can refer you to somebody.
Yeah.
So by having that, you know, protecting the gatekeeper, you know, making sure that your lawyers aren't being, you know, burdened and then feeling guilty that they have to go have coffee or lunch with people that they're never going to do business with, right? You know, they're not the decision maker. They're not looking to go out and meet with new payroll companies. That's my job, or at least my team, right? So, so that's another big part. And then the final part is, again, always three. You got to have digital footprint. You've got to have that grassroots. And then the third thing is you want to make sure, and this is the smallest part of your budget, but you do want to make sure that you're putting money into some branding. Now, branding, people sometimes have, it's a hard pill to swallow. It's like, I can't track it. I don't know how many people are seeing it. I don't know if I'm getting any calls off of it. I understand, but sometimes just being out there is
your company.
Right. You know, I got my start as an executive in the liquor business. I was in the wine industry for a long time. You want to know what the biggest challenge in the wine business is?
Oh.
Getting somebody to go into the grocery store and pick your bottle off the shelf and read the back label.
Oh.
You can get them to read the back label. You're think about that, right? So what is it you need to do to close a job here? Can I do what the client's asking me to do? Can I do it in the time or in the priority that they expect of us? And then do they have the money to be able to pay for that private lawyer? So the biggest thing that we do here is we have a sales process. For one, anybody that calls in and says, yeah, I'm looking to talk to a lawyer. Great, you can talk to me. I'm not an attorney and I cannot give you legal advice, nor can I speculate as to the outcome of your matter.
Yeah.
But I can talk to you for a minute. What is it that you're looking for, right? And so gatekeeping. And then the final question we always had, okay, yeah, you want to get divorced? We can do that.
Right.
You want to get child custody? We can help with that, this, that, other thing. And then we have our final question. Are you in a position today financially in which you can retain a private attorney to help you with this legal matter? Yeah. You mean like money? That's exactly what I mean. You pay. No, I'm pretty broke. I was looking for pro bono. Here's the number to the state bar.
Yeah. And then
think about that. You look at most lawyers' closing ratio, they're at between 15 and 20%. Our closing ratio is 70%. Every 10 people that hold an appointment, we get 7 new clients.
Yeah. Okay. Like that. I like that. Yeah. Do you do all the intake or do you have a team to do intake?
I have my own team here. Yeah. We're a 3-man team. Every department has a team here. Every department, every lawyer has a senior paralegal or paralegal and then a legal assistant.
Yeah.
And then I have my administrative assistant and my executive assistant, all trained in sales.
Okay. That's very important. Sales is so
This
important.
is the lifeblood. I mean, the cash flow is everything.
Yes, yes. You have cash, you have more ways to do other things.
Sales is like a heart. It
Yeah.
pumps the cash flow throughout the body.
Yes.
Right?
I like that analogy.
A lot of people, and I know a lot of people, I'm going to law school because I don't want to be a salesman and I want to make good money. Gotta learn how to sell.
Yeah, you probably have to
Learn how
hire
to
someone to
close.
do sales for you.
No client's gonna give you $5,000 without meeting you and getting to know you a little bit.
No, absolutely. Well, Chris, this has been such a great conversation. Thank you so much. You're so smart. Like I am blown away. Thank you again for your.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you ever, I know that in your email you said like you don't look for vendors until like November. I do love everything
Right. End of October, beginning of November, we invite vendors to send in their proposals.
Yes.
And with a brief explanation of what it is they want to do, or we can set up a quick video chat and then we go through their offerings. The only big rules I have is as long as it doesn't do anything that would cause us to black hat on Google, right? So I don't cannibalize myself. Search engine marketing from more than one. Sure that we don't, step out of line with the powers that be.
Yeah, one of my biggest thing before you go is content, social content. So I did see like in your website, I think you only have a LinkedIn, but there's no Instagram. I didn't find a Facebook. I don't know if I just didn't.
I have Facebook, yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Now I am in the process of rebuilding a website, but yeah, we've got Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn.
Oh, there you go. I didn't.
Those should all go to their respective links. If they're not,
yeah,
shoot me an email. I'll call my team. We're in the process of doing a full new site right now. So
there you go.
I know we've got two people in and out of it working and cutting and pasting and
okay,
that going on. But you should be able to find our Facebook, our LinkedIn, and our Instagram.
Cool, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chris, and we'll be in touch.
I look forward to it, Jessica. It was a pleasure. Thank you.